Ah, yes, rhythm games, a combination of life's finest pleasures, music, and video games. Okay, who am I kidding? It's all very subjective. However, whether you enjoy them or not, there is no denying that they have played an integral role in the gaming scene for quite a time. So, what makes a rhythm game and where did it originate? In simpler terms, rhythm games are video games that are built around music. They usually require players to press the buttons in sync with the music and guide plays with visual cues to ensure this. The presentation of these cues, however, can look quite similar. Very similar. Although they don't always have to be structured that way. So, yes, even Geometry Dash is a rhythm game. I guess depends on the map. Okay, but what about their origins? Well, it all started when a Japanese guy called Furukawa had an idea for an arcade game where you'd lift girls' skirts in time to some rhythm. You don't make that shit up, folks. Though maybe they do, since I couldn't find any visuals for the arcade machine. That aside, many people consider the first rhythm game to be Parappa the Rapper. It is a game made by Sony for PlayStation in Japan. Feel old yet? The funny thing about this game was the fact that the creators weren't even sure if they could call this a game. They were so convinced that it wouldn't do well in the markets that they only had limited copies of the game. Boy, were they wrong. It sold 1,000,000 copies. It is a game where you're required to hit notes that appear on the screen which are in sync with the music. This simple mechanic has laid out the foundation for the whole genre. In a way, you get to experience music not just with your ears but with your hands too. I lied. Turns out hands aren't the only way you could play rhythm games with. Yes, I'm referring to Dance Dance Revolution. It's made by Konami, a company from Japan. Yet again, there's a twist though. Instead of using your hands to tap the buttons, you use your feet. This little change of things was enough to make it a sensation in Japan, and from there on the popularity of rhythm games just exploded. Oh boy, USI wanted some of that too. And so they imported Dance Dance Revolution arcade machines from there. Illegally. Yeah, moving on. Dance Dance Revolution wasn't the only success Konami had. Prior to all that, they have created Beat Mania. It was an arcade game and this allowed the game to have its own kit, just so that you could be the DJ of your dreams. Soon after, they created more games revolving around different instruments, such as Drum Mania, with drums, and Guitar Freaks, with a guitar, with 3 colored buttons. Now, why does this look so familiar? Okay, going back to USA again. They literally ripped off of this game. And by they, I mean Harmonix. And created 2 new titles. If you guessed Rock Band, you would be right. But if you have guessed Guitar Hero, you would also be right. And if you guessed Tap Tap, I guess you're right again. They also tried to create the illusion that they didn't copy Guitar Freak by adding a few new extra keys, so that it will look brand new and shiny. Apparently, Konami didn't care. They did improve the visuals though, so I'll give them that. These 2 games did so well with the sales that the producers kept on pumping up game after game. After a certain point, they even created games specifically catered around popular musicians at the time, like Metallica. However, what is more shocking is that Guitar Hero 3 broke a world record in terms of sales. It reached $1 billion worth of profit before any other game could. One reason for this was because they got popular among not just gamers but with non-gamers too. The controllers were intuitive, so anyone could pick it up. Their physicality has also created an attraction point, much like Dance Dance Revolution had. And of course, who wouldn't want to be a rock star? However, this physicality may have been the reason for these games' downfall. With every new edition, players would have to buy new equipment, and soon after it probably turned into a hassle. Then the creator of Rock Band went on to another project. This game's name is Amplitude. It expanded upon the concept of tapping a few notes on a plane by increasing the number of the planes. But what for, you may ask? Well, each plane would represent a different instrument, and the game would require you to switch between them constantly. However, this game didn't do as well. Even the sales for Guitar Hero and Rock Band were kinda slowing down. It seemed that the player base had burned out on these games. The fame they held was nothing but a relic of the past. Guitar Hero and Rock Band continue to release new titles in hopes to get the crumbs of what their old sales were. It was fruitless. Meanwhile, in Japan, rhythm games were still pretty popular. They have evolved into this. Oh boy, they've done it again. Bandai Namco Entertainment made an idle game in arcades. They follow the same formula of pressing buttons with visual cues, while cute idols dance in the background. We bait! These idle master games even found their ways into our phones, as phone games, so that you could never have to separate from your favorite idol. Weebs. Heck, even the popular virtual singer Hatsune Miku was born out of this era and got our very own rhythm game called Hatsune Miku Project Diva, made by Sega. Back to the SI, 2010 and onwards. This lack of interest in rhythm games in the USI has garnered indie game developers' interest. They decided to revive this genre by adding their own unique spins to it, which has created an abstraction of the genre. In a way, they would be selling rhythm games that are mixed with other genres or innovations that bring a whole new dimension to them. But not even all of these genre mashes started out intentionally. This was the case for Crypt of the Necrodancer. As the developers were creating the concept, they realized that the way the character moved followed the rhythm, and thus it became the game it is known today. It was also pretty original in the sense that instead of your avatar pressing the buttons for the beat to create the beat, you're being pressured into moving with the beat as an outside party from the beat. Then there is Vectronom, a game that follows the same idea of maps that dance to the rhythm. Though, the idea of adapting to map is more prevalent than simply keeping up with the same rhythm, as seen by the Crypt of the Necrodancer. Then we have Thumper, made by Drool, a two-man company. Yeah, it breaks out of the usual friendly-looking interface for these games and takes us into a weird Lovecraftian edge of the universe. Its horror not only lies in the visuals, but also that feeling of the unknown. I mean, what are we even looking at here? You never know what's coming next, and the beat changes subtly to keep you on your toes. And of course, there's Rhythm Doctor, made by 7-Beat Games. Dare I say, one of the best rhythm games of all time because of its innovativeness. It is a single button rhythm game where you are required to hit the button at specific beats. It utilizes the fact that it only has a single button really well. Most rhythm games try to amp up the challenge by speeding up the song and the number of the notes, And yet, Rhythm Doctor has different tricks under its sleeve. Firstly, the developers utilize their music knowledge really well. As you progress throughout the levels, the type of the beat you are tapping to changes. This not only keeps the stages fresh, but also secretly teaches you more about music theory. After a few more stages, it also adds multiple different beats that you have learned throughout the whole game, all at once. Try keeping up with that one. As if that wasn't enough, sometimes even the visual cues are supposed to help you is there to distract you. I think it embodies what a true rhythm game should be like, because it actually tests your sense of rhythm. At times, you will want to rely on your ears more than you would want to rely on your eyes, which sadly not many rhythm games do, but should. There have been times when the music was non-dialectic too. Can you imagine that? A non-dialectic rhythm game? Yeah, I thought so. Oh, rhythm games made an appearance on VR too. There was Beat Saber, a game where Fruit Ninja meets rhythm games. This game quickly raised on top of the rhythm game food chain. In fact, it is today's most popular rhythm game, although still not on the same level as what Guitar Hero and Rock Band used to be. However, there's even a less popular title on VR, which I think deserves more attention by its sheer creativity. Yep, it's Pistol Whip. The genius of this game lies in recognizing the similarity between rhythm games and first-person shooters. Yeah, both of them give you inputs that require you to click at with precision. No wonder I was trying to improve my aim by playing also. It also proves to us that rhythm games aren't doomed to look the same, and they can collaborate with different genres. Overall, I think this genre still has a lot to offer to the gaming world. Many of these examples show how much room for creativity they have. Funny enough, their limitations, such as single buttons and having to solely rely on music, enhances the innovative outcomes. Who knew limitations could push people to think outside the box? Plus, they are still going strong in Japanese arcades. Hopefully, future rhythm game creators can create titles that focus more on the synergy between music and gameplay mechanics, rather than making the player mash a million times per beat. And of course, they will always stay as a really relaxing pastime for me. Unless it's one of those levels.